Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, how are you?
Unspoken answers to unspoken questions. Yes, I got my man, Mr. Osisanwo, a headmaster in a reputable school in London. How are you doing?
I'm brilliant. I'm good.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Good, nice. It's been a while. We've been talking about this, talk and things like that, And I'm glad that it has come to
It's happening now.
Because you've been a busy person,
Well, we all have to be busy.
Easy.
Yeah.
How you doing? That's always
I'm brilliant. I'm good. I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm very, very good. We thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. We thank God. I'm good.
Okay. So, have you been? The change of guards. The queen is gone, and
well,
prince.
she's gone. The prince is now the king. We just
The
have
king.
to go with the flow, isn't it?
Charles the Third.
The third. And he's in control. So hey,
Wow.
hey, we just have to keep abiding by being with him, loving him, praying for him, that he makes the right decisions.
Well, do you mean? Well, he's not gonna make a
Everybody,
decision.
we're all
decision.
human. We're all humans. We make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we pray for him that he makes the right decisions, then we're all good, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. As an educator, what do you think you could imbibe if you are being called upon to say something to the king?
I would ask him to look at the educational sector as a whole and try to revamp it and change some things. Things I consider extremely important. And there are some things that some certain people do not consider important. I'm a believer of high educational values. And I believe he's got the power to push that forward.
Yeah.
Some time back, the grammar system was struck out of London and some parts of the country. And it became a secular education. I would say it should be brought back because majority of those in parliament either went to a grammar or a private school. So, don't get me wrong. The comprehensive schools are doing well. I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
But if there's more competition, there will be more success. That's the way I see it. But again, that is just my views.
Okay. But what really happened?
Way back then, a group of people in power decided that the grammar system is extremely competitive and some students are not getting the right dose of education and decided they wanted it to be secular. The Borough of London went with it, but most other boroughs outside London did not.
Wow.
Well, hey, we still have high achieving schools within London. But I would say in my own books that the most high achieving schools are either the private or the grammars, which I feel is a bit unfair because you're not giving students the opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to hit on. The kids or the pupils themselves, if you say, oh, you hammer on this, on that, and they don't really imbibe it.
Okay. In a nutshell, you would have some students, learners, let's put them that way, and students learn in different at different paces, right? And if a child does not embrace it, it means the interest is not there. If the interest is there, that child would embrace it. And don't forget, a child is like a sponge. Is what you put in that child's head that grows.
Yeah.
You know, so no fault of theirs. It is what the government wanted. But remember, I said something earlier on. It's working in some schools. It is working. I mean, you can't knock them off, or you can't knock the procedure off. It is working.
Yeah. Okay.
But I am still a believer of that the previous system, because all our majority of our leaders benefited from it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the way I see it.
Definitely.
So,
but has it been mentally challenging to the pupils?
I would say no, because I mean,
if you put economical factors.
If we take out the economical factors and we look at students within a learning environment, every child is being taught according to his or her own ability. So if you're in a certain school where averagely the grades of the students are like a grade 7, just make that for an example, they will be taught at that grade 7 and tried to be extended to a grade 8 to make them achieve more.
Okay.
You know, it's like giving them an extra level to what they know. In other settings, if a child comes in at a grade 3, in the secondary environment, then it's a bit difficult, because averagely we're expecting students to come in at grade 5, grade 4, grade 5, you know.
Yeah.
So a child coming in at grade 3 could have some other challenges, which parents or guardians or the council or whatever we might call it has not been previewed to actually diagnose or see at an early age. However, though, even in the very high achieving schools, you've got such students. It's way and manner we handle it that matters.
Okay.
I have seen students that have got difficulties in learning that came out with the top grades across. And I've seen students with difficulty in learning that did not achieve as much as they ought to achieve, all because the amenities that they need is not on ground. And that's it, really.
I think we've had one term now after COVID. What's been the backdrop of COVID?
Backdrop is we had loads of students learning from home. So there's a difference between a teacher standing in front of a group of students and a teacher sitting behind a computer. There's a big difference. And do not forget that for data protection as well, at times the teachers might not even be able to see the students. So a form of communication is broken at that point. The communication could be visual. You know, the communication could be body language of the learners. All those telltale signs, you will pick it up while you're teaching a certain topic. You know, so
the parents would also...
it is difficult, because don't forget that during the COVID time, the parents too were working. So
they were working.
It's not easy for a parent to sit next to a child
because
learning in class, sound going on, parents also working out. For all you know, the parents too could be online, could be having a conversation with whoever on the phone. So students in different rooms, bottom line is impact of the learning. It is, I believe, that is not as 100% as it should be.
Yeah.
But obviously, is a medium where we get students to learn more.
Yeah, because I struggle with my family as well, because for some time, people didn't really understood even the curriculum that they
yes. It is difficult, because as an educator, you understand the curriculum of the subject at which you teach. If you bring in the curriculum of another subject as an educator, yes, you can dissect it and understand where to go. But as a parent that is not an educator, it will be difficult if you chuck loads of materials and say, oh,
factor out
this is English, this is math, this is chemistry, this is biology, this is geography, this is science, this is cooking.
Yeah.
And believe you me, the curriculum of each subject is vast. Is vast. For parents-wise, I would say if a parent is monitoring a child's development, making sure homework is being done, trying to stretch that child to do better, then you're more or less helping. I'm also a believer of one thing that I tell parents at times, or friends, anyone, that at the end of the day, your children's educators are actually their parents. Because they actually, and if you don't understand that, they spend more time in school than home.
Yeah, well,
let's look at it. They leave home at say 8ish. They come back say at 4. I mean, how many hours is that? Let's do the maths. About 8 hours approximately. They come home, they eat, have breakfast, dinner, whatever. By 8ish, they're in bed. So they're 4 hours really with their parents. Ideally, except if a child goes on to sleep later on at night. But ideally, they are still spending more time in school.
There's been a lot of things that the government is putting in place. And even the king tried to say something about helping people economically. The prime minister now is putting other plans to help
people. Yeah.
But what have you, as a educator, as a headmaster, seen pupils come into school?
Because if a parent is making 1,005 and having to spend half of what he or she makes.
Let's not even go to the thing. It's just like, basic lunch. Basic resources.
Basic lunch, but
academical resources like computers and things like that.
I believe most schools have got facilities for that. Most for that. And that facility could be sourced from the school. Now, with the government...
Even internet.
More 99.9% of schools in England has got all of that. That is basic. You have internet, you have...
But for the family...
family at home.
Yeah.
See, there are some things that a family has got to provide themselves. And there are some things the government would help out with. I know that during COVID, my school, we had families that did not have internet. We provided internet for them. But that was the school, not the government.
Okay.
So in terms of how much extra the government would be providing to those families, I believe that it will do 2, 3, 4 more things. For example, people that don't have internet at home, you can provide them that for themselves. We have some students that come into school without breakfast now and cannot afford lunch. There's other facilities for them as well. The parents can apply for free school meals.
Okay.
Now, I do know that free school meals is given. There's a criteria for it.
Yeah.
And all you've got to do is go on the school's website and apply for it.
You have to.
You have to. So if you apply for it and you meet the criteria, then it will be given to you. That I know for sure.
So what's the criteria for?
The criteria, you've got to be making below a certain amount of money.
Well, the family or the parents?
The parents, the carers.
Yeah.
I mean, the student is a child.
Yeah.
We don't expect the children to be working. We expect the parents to be working, or on benefits or whatever. I mean, as parents, you still have to make money, right? Now, making the money might be nothing. A parent might be on family support. It might be on welfare. If you're on welfare, family support, government grants, not automatically, you still have to apply for it. You will get it.
You will get it?
Oh, yes, most definite. You will get the free school meals. And it's free.
And it's free?
Oh, yes, it is free.
Okay, because I've been kind of talking to some parents. Yeah, fine, I think, like you said, some of them, they get something like that, and other charities and things like that.
Yeah.
But some people still struggle.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Everybody struggles,
and it's been like a challenge to the family as well. Which I know one that
Okay, can I
subsidize?
Yes, can I come in there? The family you talked about just now? I believe in my heart of hearts that if that family applied for free school meals for the child,
okay,
they would get it.
Do you know the website or any?
Every school, go to the school's website. It's in there. You just have to go.
You see,
it's in the school's website. Every school has got it. And if you go on, like say my school, for example, is written welfare. Just go on welfare, look at all the links. It will tell you apply for X, Y, Z, whatever. So many things. You even have even transport.
Transport.
Yes.
Okay, guys, you're hearing it from Mr. Osisanwo.
Even transport. Now, hold on. Before, so I should clarify that with the transport, some schools might not provide that.
Okay.
Some schools do.
Okay.
Right. I know of 3 or 4 schools that do it.
Okay. So
and
it has to be academically.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, drop your comment. Drop your statement, and we'll also pass it on.
I will try my best one
to Mr. Osisanwo. Yes, again, click the buzzer and share the content you have. Again, as a person of color.
Yep.
I know this is going to be the challenge.
No, it's not. I'll answer to the best of my ability.
How do you navigate your program as a headmaster, a family, a leader, and a church?
Okay. Okay. First and first, I'm a believer that your skin color is not a barrier. But again, my beliefs, you don't have to agree with me.
Definitely.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
You don't. Again, my beliefs. I've always said one thing, that because your skin color is different doesn't mean you won't get where you need to go to. For example, are you telling me if you wanted to build a house and you know someone of a different ethnicity can do it better than someone you would have preferred, you will go for the wrong person? I don't think any human being would. Now, if you talk about comments being passed at work or whatever the issue might be that might make you feel uncomfortable, that's a different ballgame. But you being a black person, an Indian person, an Arab, an Asian, or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, for what I am into, I believe your educational qualification will get you into it. Now, apart from workplace, don't forget your workplace. Well, for what I do, is not just the staff. You've got the students. Them students, believe you me, don't know better. Or rather, that's the wrong word. They hardly castigate or segregate because they are children.
Yeah.
It is what we as adults put into them that mitigates or brings about other beliefs in them. So with work, I believe that has been settled. With home, I mean, I live in a white neighborhood. You've seen my neighborhood. My neighbors are my friends, and I'm their friend.
Yeah.
So I have not experienced the negative. I will not put down
even the
negative.
criticism.
I want to be criticized when I know I am wrong. I don't want to be perfect. If I'm criticized based on the color of my skin, it's a different ballgame. On the color of my skin, yes, that's a different ballgame. But if I've been criticized because I have not performed my duties to the highest of standards, then I welcome that.
Okay, so in terms of how, let me put it in a different way.
Okay,
there is, October is Black History Month.
Yes, we do it in my school.
Yeah, fine. So, as an educator, and as well, maybe not as a leader, as an individual, yeah, an individual, this thing, like a statement that, okay, you have to walk twice or three times better than another race.
Okay.
Now, that comment, you wouldn't say, okay, as an educator, yes, this, but as an individual.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? But who has instigated that though? That comment? Because that comment, I've had a conversation about it before. It is we people that say it, not them, or not the other race.
I'll go into social media.
All right, go on.
All right. There's this film out now. It's called The Woman King.
I've not seen that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Viola Davis. And now it's a blockbuster. Yeah. And it's kind of like she has been narrating her story, where even having the qualifications, going to the top of the top, but at the end of the day, the colleagues who I wouldn't mention, they still get
the higher
positions, higher,
Okay, I get where you're coming
things like
from.
that. So that's why I'm like,
I get where you're coming from.
I don't want you to.
I wouldn't.
Like,
exactly.
But I want, like, as an individual.
Yes, I will tell you where I stand on that. Yes, for the lady in question, it's unfortunate that happened. I can only talk about myself as an individual. I do not believe I have encountered that. But if I did encounter it and I know, yes, this is happening, I will speak out. Do you get where I'm coming from? I will speak out. I have had incidences outside work that I had to stand up for my rights as a human being. But work-wise, I really haven't. Not even really, I haven't.
Okay.
Now, remember I did say something that they will want the best of the best to perform a particular duty. I don't believe because you're not in tune with that person that you say, oh, oh, you're going to give the job to somebody else. Now, I didn't mean there were 4 or 5 people that were more qualified than I was at a time when I was going into that job. Probably.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Probably.
Yeah.
Now then I would have legs to stand on. Then secondly, there's one thing I would say for a fact, that since I started, obviously I've moved schools. When I got to a certain position, I've been in that particular organization and I have risen in that organization. And I have had like 4 interviews. Out of the 4, I got 3. So for each interview, I keep going up. One I did not get from friends when, oh, it's because of their race, they are who they are. But guess what I said? They are better than I am. And it's the truth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've earned your props. You know,
exactly.
You're a professor. You're a professor. So I know definitely you.
So when it comes to the race thing, outside work, oh yes, I have. And outside work, I stood my grounds.
Yeah, well, you stood your ground.
Yeah.
Okay, and
it wasn't amicably resolved, but I still stood my grounds.
Okay.
Oh, it wasn't amicably resolved, but I stood my grounds. I got into some trouble for it.
Yeah.
But I stood my grounds.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, all right.
Like I tell my daughters, stand your ground.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, you've earned your props. You've earned your props.
So, yeah.
Again, going back to October.
Okay.
Now, I was also again researching on the internet. There's a guy that I follow, Lever Button, you know, and he did a very like a 1 minute or 2 minute, because what he does is he reads poems, books, and things like that. So now he's saying, now you don't even have a leg to, if you want to read, maybe, this one is feminine. This, is too male. And, this one, is this. That right now, of course, growing up, you can read whatever. But now everybody is like, okay, you have to have this standard, you have to have this one, have this one. What is the problem with education or educating kids that, because I believe that all this thing impacts so much.
Should I try and rephrase your question so I know you're asking me what I believe you're asking?
Well, yeah.
And if it's not, then are you asking what is my take or my view in boys that want to be girls? Hold on, please. Or girls that want to be boys, or sex change because they are still kids?
No.
Or about you saying, because this is a boy, don't read the girl's book. Because this is a girl, don't read the boy's book. Behind the backs. But do not forget that all these people that banned them books read that to get them where they are. They read all the books that was banned.
Exactly.
To get them where they are. So are we saying we're doing a disservice to the upcoming generation? Is that what we're saying? Or is that what we're advocating? As far as I'm concerned, again, my own views, I believe if there are books out there that a child is meant to read to form that child's growing up or learning development, then that child should read it.
I asked a question by a parent before we came to the platform, and the person was asking me, as a headmaster, why are there not diversity or inclusion black-based history, in black history in curriculum
right now? Okay.
that
I'm going to answer that question. If I may, before I answer, if I may ask, is the parent Asian or African? Okay, whichever, but the parent wasn't. The parent
exactly.
is not. Is not Caucasian. The parent is not, right? I will answer it. Okay. And I'll tell you the reason why. Right, I'll tell you the reason why. I'm not saying it's right. It's not right. But the reason why is, unfortunately, we're in a society that is Caucasian. Unfortunately, their history is going to be based around their development. Now, truly, they've been introducing that in because now we have a diverse society. But the reason why I asked is that parent Caucasian, right? There's a reason that parent is not Caucasian.
Because
yes, I know. I don't want the name. I'm just saying what kind of race. I mean, we are all one at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves. And honesty is key. When we were growing up, we were told a certain person discovered River Niger. My question is, my great-great-great-great-grandfather has been swimming in River Niger. Now, there's also a context of things that people do not look at. Don't forget, the Caucasians had always written down their history.
Yeah.
Where I come from, we Africans, we did not write down our history. It was passed down verbally from generation to generation. Later on, we started writing it down.
Okay.
Now, let's face it. Obviously, that question must have arisen and would arise from here, England. England has been keeping history for the past 500 years. So they have a history to teach. They do.
Yeah.
Now,
but blacks.
We know, don't get me wrong.
Or the race.
Now it's happening.
Doing that.
No, now it's happening.
Well,
It only probably started maybe 50, 70, 100 years ago. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll use my own Yoruba culture. Yeah, fine. You know, there are things that they've been.
Yeah, they just. When I say they just started.
Okay.
I'm looking at 50 years, 100 years ago. That's just compared. Look at the Bible, the Quran we read. They've been existing for the past 500 years.
Even the English.
Or more. Yeah.
Yeah. Was, Spanish.
But
this one French.
But it doesn't.
This one, just to put it.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
And then
it doesn't matter where they came from. What matters is there is history being written down. That's what matters. And one needs to be real about this. Now, if I may go back to what you said, the Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
I am big for it. Very big for it because I believe in my culture. So right now, I sit down my daughters and tell them about my heritage, my upbringing, my family, who their father is, their grandfather is, great-grandfather was. But guess what? I am still passing it down verbally. They have this, what's it called? History, is it hereditary or history? Or what's it called? That if you're Caucasian, you could type in your name, it would give you. I've forgotten what it's called.
Yeah. I know the program.
See, again, I tell people, let's be real. Do we have that? Yes, I might have the knowledge of this because I'm an educator. But do we have that? But guess what? Today, I am still teaching my daughters and I'm handing it down verbally, right?
Yeah.
So by the time they have their own great-grandchildren, hopefully, we might have had something like that. Hopefully, it won't be verbally anymore. So if that be the case, then it means
Yeah.
So yeah, go on.
Going back to you as a this one as a headmaster.
Okay. All right.
In your office.
Okay. I will tell you one thing, right? And should be told. My calling wasn't teaching initially. It wasn't. Okay. I did not, at the very beginning of my career, go into teaching. I was in other things. Along the line, I got into teaching. And after a few months, I fell in love with it. With the fact that I wasn't in the four walls of an office anymore. Yeah. I was interacting with students.
Yeah.
And there's a power of impacting knowledge on these students. Big power of impacting knowledge. Along the line, there will be cracks within the system or within the school at which you find yourself.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're actually bridging that gap, it says a lot. It motivates you to want to do more. It motivates you to want to do more. So by the time you now climb up to become, say, head of departments or whatever the case might be, you might decide to take your department in a new path. And once you're doing that, don't forget you're staying the cohort of the students you've got to a new path. And the joy of being an educator is to see your students succeed.
Yeah.
Believe you me, when my students succeed, I'm always jumping for joy. My wife is always like, man, calm down, you know? And because you know you've put that in. So, and like I tell anybody, it's like you teaching a child, and that child succeeds. There is joy. There is a blessing in it.
Well, yeah, definitely.
There is.
Definitely.
And you know, you get students' parents call you up just to say thank you. It goes a long way. Just to say thank you.
Thank you.
It really goes a long way.
Okay. I know, like I said again, you know, going back to it, you've earned your props.
Fair enough.
Diligently, well. Now, how do you sit someone that is not, now there's a lot of things that is going on around, and I went back to economic situations. People are not ready interested in academic again. Most especially social media. Social media now, make it like
it makes it seem as if it's a bed of roses, but it's not.
Yeah, Bill Gates, he flunked, school.
Okay.
This one, that. Now, you have earned your props.
Okay.
What can you say to any other person that will be looking at you as in
looking at me as that I want
as a role model?
Okay. What I would tell anyone that is looking up to me as a role model is getting to where I am is not a bed of roses. There's loads of studying involved. There's loads of being focused involved. And I also tell anyone that cares to listen that all work and no play will make Jack a dull boy. Because you've got to mix it. In as much as you know what you're doing and you're embedded in what you're doing and you're dedicated to what you're doing, you would always climb. So, having said that, it is also important for anyone who's aspiring to do what I do to set a goal. and work towards that goal. And don't think because you've not achieved that goal, you failed. It took me 15 years to get where I am. Some people, it might take them 20, 30. But guess what? I know someone that it took him 6 years.
6 years?
Yes, and he's very good. So, I mean, we don't all walk at the same pace. You get it.
6 years?
Yeah. We have seen someone, and we have still good friends till date. Very, very good friends.
Really?
And he's up there academically, is good.
Yeah.
And he's a people manager. I mean, it's not all about education. You've got to manage people. You've got to steer people. Don't forget, I did say, we are more or less like parents to them. We are role models.
Yeah.
You see? Now, you also, well, correct me if I'm wrong, ask the question about what about students or people that don't want to get into the academics and they look at social media and they believe it's a bed of roses.
Yeah,
I can use,
you know, all right.
I can use an example. You even mentioned it, Bill Gates, you know, you mentioned them. I would use an example of what I had done. I was at a group of 30, 40 students in my school hall, sat them down, year 7s, year 8s. They were just obsessed about social media. So I asked them who the richest man in the world was. They did tell me. They were right. I asked them a few questions and all that. They were right. So I told them to start jotting down all these rich, wealthy people and come up with the figure. They came up with like 100. The ones they know. Don't get me wrong, there's a million of them out there. But the ones they know. I didn't go through the 4 walls of school. So I asked them, what's the population of the world? Oh, some didn't even know. But strangely, population of the world. Population of the world, right?
Yeah.
They told me. I said, what is the percentage of those that made it without an education?
Yeah.
It was so minute, it was like 0%.
Yeah.
So I said something to them, like my father used to say, with an education, you might not be rich.
Definitely.
But you would never be poor. You will find something to do. If you're now poor, well, hold on. If you're now poor, then it means you're spending your money on things you shouldn't be spending your money on.
Yeah.
You won't be poor,
but at the
you
same
might
time,
not be rich.
At the same time,
You might be below average.
I still know some professors, and they're scraping, the bottom of the pot.
But they are not. They are still making money. It might be very little.
Well,
It might be very, very little. But it's that education that gives them the job which they do. Let's be real. You might not be rich, you might be average, but with an education, you can still feed yourself no matter how tiny. That's the truth. Without an education, then you fall into, if you don't make it, then you fall into traps of you having to do any job that comes your way.
Yeah, well, looking at the English system anyway, or the UK.
No, you see,
it gives you that kind of skills.
Let's not change the dynamics, please. Yes, in my part of the world, I can tell you that with an education, you will still struggle because the economy itself is not great.
Exactly.
But I am not basing my argument on such an economy. I'm basing my arguments on the economy at which I find myself, which you find yourself. Do you get where I'm coming from now? I'm not basing my argument on that. I know in this country, anywhere in the West, with an education, you might not make it. You might be below average, but you will still get something to do, except if by some weird reason something happens to that person.
Like,
but look at me today. I didn't study education. Yes, I'm a mathematician, but I didn't study education. There we go.
Yeah. Thank you so much. In your field, what surprises you more?
That we have some students that believe life is a bed of roses. But the truth. I'm not surprised about my member of staff. I'm not surprised about what the government brings in, because I'm used to them trying to change one thing or the other. Whoever is in power will try to do something to show, oh, I've done X, Y, Z. I'm not surprised about the students when they come in, because they've so much grown up to see that, look, we will be provided for. But what they seem to realize is what they'll be provided for is nothing. It doesn't even pay your, well, it will pay your phone bill. Do you get where I'm coming from? So they believe it's a bed of roses.
Yeah.
Now, majority of them, they get to a certain point and it dawns on them. Then they pick it up. Now, there are other challenges that students face, which you brought up earlier on when you talked about amenities or things the government is willing to provide for the family. It triggers down.
Yeah.
Right? It triggers down. The family gets the money, they provide what they can for the kids. But do not forget that if a child comes into school in the morning without breakfast, he's not going to function.
Yeah.
He's going to be hungry.
Yeah, because that's why, I was talking about economically.
Yeah, so when you ask what surprises me the most, those students might be in that bracket. So how do we as educators encourage them? Hence, we've got the welfare services I've talked about, child services within the school, child protection. As an educator, you would. They're telltale signs. And it's about you speaking to that child, oh, have you had breakfast this morning? First day, he or she says no. Second day, no. Fourth day, no. 2 weeks after, no. Then you see something is wrong. Now, and again, one needs to be careful, because truly the parents might not be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Truly, there might be other issues at home that we do not know. So in such cases, them students will be put together and say, okay, you know what? Come have breakfast with us. And you will be surprised there will be a member of staff there having breakfast with them and talking to them and making them see that, whatever you're going through doesn't mean that is how life is. And you'll be surprised that some students, that's all they know.
Yeah. You've been a pleasure to grace your platform.
Thank you so very much.
Now, lastly, what can you give to parents different and as an advice, inspiration?
I would say, from my own experience, majority of my students' parents or guidance look up to me. So the inspiration is, if I can do it, your child can do it. And it's by telling them your child is learning in a safe environment, climbing the ladder, and going to do well. They would ask, what assurances do I have? But do not forget the kind of school I'm in, we expect everybody to rise, right? So it's by the parents themselves saying the progress that child is making. Now to cap it all up, we have a thing in, well, my school where we work, we make no promises to parents. We can only assure them that their child is in a safe hand, working well. And this is the reason. Like they say, you can force the horse to the stream. You can't force the horse to drink water. So if a child does all the learning in school, does nothing at home, that child will struggle. Because it's not possible for you to finish the curriculum. It's just not.
Do you relate to them as a leader, or you relate to them as a father?
I relate to them as both, because you've got to be honest with with the parents. If you relate to them as just a leader and you say, oh, this is what your child is doing, because the leader has got to be truthful. That your child is working at so level, your child is doing well or not doing well, or whatever the case may be, and leave it that way. That's not helpful. You've got to be compassionate as well. And say, okay, the child is doing extremely well. This is what we can do to push that child. Your child is not doing too well. This is what we need to do. So it's not about what you as a parent need to do, it's what we need to do. Remember I said earlier on, the parents of the kids are who? The educators.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Osisanwo. It's, like I said, it's a gracious platform to come. I know definitely, like I said before, you earn your props. And that's why I've been looking for you for a long time.
I know.
Yes. So, guys, unspoken answers to unspoken questions. Can you wrap it up with that?
I would say to all parents, guardians, to always believe in our children, and we keep pushing them, steer them the right way. Be on top of their education, because they will need it. And education is not just books only, it's all round. And lastly, I'm also a believer of a child needs to play as well. Balance it up.
Okay, thank you so much. Guys, click the buzzer, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you very much.
Madam, sorry.